Oh, well, hello there. You're back again. Thanks for joining me again. Greetings and salutations. It is I, Johnny, and this is the Who the Heaven Is I podcast, episode number 2. Made it out of the starting gate. Yeah! You know, in much of life, that's the hardest part, is getting started. With anything. I mean, you can conceptualize, you can think about it, you could be sitting on your sofa, flipping through the channels, going, you know what, I got a great idea. I'm going to go do this. But then, your favorite show comes on, and then 7 episodes later, you realize it's time for bed, that you got work in the morning, and it just doesn't happen. So, that being said, thank you for joining me for podcast number 2. If there's anyone actually out there. Actually, I know there's one person out there, and so, hey, shout out to you. You know who you are. You sent me a message this morning. I'm not going to call you out yet, because I'm waiting for your grand opening before I call you out. Ha, ha, ha. Anyway, bottom line is, what I've found in life, part of the reason, I haven't gotten started on a lot of my things is 2 reasons. Perfectionism. And does anybody care? You mix those 2 things together, and it's like, womp, womp. You'll never get out of the starting gate. In fact, this is going to sound kind of funny. I have like 16 episodes of a video podcast called the My Friends and I Show. At least 16 episodes of people I've interviewed. And it started during the pandemic, mainly because I felt like connectivity is really important. And I think my friends are really cool, and people I've met have stories to share. And I think that, when we can hear other people's walks of life and what they got going through, it makes it more relatable. That, hey, everyone's going through stuff, but a lot of people that we know have all these other hidden talents and things that they're doing that we just might not know about. Now, granted, because it was during the pandemic, and I have the gift of gab, sometimes I did get a little bit more vocal, and I didn't practice the art of listening as much as I probably should have, which is my own fault. But I learned from it, and that's part of the perfectionism part of it, where does anyone even want to hear me just like rambling with these people? But eventually they'll get out there, because it's also a visual podcast. I think that it's one of those things where people to sit for that long have to be captivated. And I don't know, maybe I'll just put it out there and see what people say. But I don't want to digress from what my thing today was just getting started with something. And this is the 2nd episode, and as I lied in bed this morning, thinking about what am I going to talk about? It's the anxiety and the stress of actually putting something together, which, like, what the heck? Just take one topic and just roll with it. And so today's topic, and it's kind of parlays into what I'll be talking about on Monday, Earth Day, which should be every day, is technology. And it's really, people are worried about the 2024 election and the red versus the blue and all that stuff. But what they should really be worried about is where these technology companies are taking us. And I say this with a heavy, heavy, heavy heart, because I worked for Apple for 11 years, and I love that company so much. I mean, listen, when I was in 4th grade, I went to computer camp over at the middle school with Mr. Beninati. Now, if you're from Warwick, you might know what I'm talking about. But nonetheless, I went to computer camp and worked on Macs at a very early age, and we were in this app called Logo, where it was a little triangle on this little screen with the mouse. It was on the first Macs, the Macintosh. And we had this mission to put the codes in, to program it, to make a little spaceship. Now, we're going through the stuff. Now, I'm a very exploratory kind of guy. And if you know me from high school, I kind of dance to the beat of a different drummer sometimes. I make my own beats and then I'll flow. But nonetheless, I like to check things out and try different things. So while I was following the lesson, I somehow uncovered a way to get things done quicker. And so as we're breaking for lunch, I'm like, I'm done. They're like, what do you mean you're done? It was Mr. Beninati and Mrs. Conklin, my third grade teacher. And I was like, I did it. And now, reflecting back on it now, the only thing I think I could have done, because I remember playing around with the Apple menu and stuff like that, I think I figured out copy and paste at an early age. and realistically, that is something, right? Like, work smarter, not harder. And I think a lot of people think I'm quote unquote lazy because I look for the smarter approach, because I'm just trying to be efficient so I can enjoy life, not burden myself with life. And I have no problem, rolling up my sleeves, get my hands dirty and do what I got to do. And in fact, there was times when my wife was home with the kids, and I was the only one working, and I would work Apple full time. I'd do my consulting business, The Wizardcast. Check out thewizardcast.com. And I was in school, which I am actually 2 classes shy of a bachelor's degree. And hopefully 2024 is, in the fall, I'll finish that up. I got everything since the pandemic, kind of my life spiraled. But, what the Soul Pilot says, sometimes I feel like I'm out of control, but in that moment, I'm just on a roll. Because sometimes you have to shake things up. And I've learned to take the negatives and become the alchemist and turn them into positives. Like if something crappy happens to me, the first thing most people will do, even myself, will be like, shucks, that happened to me. And what am I going to do now? I'm mad at this person, anger. And, think about how mad I am at this person because of that thing that happened. But if you have goals in life, and this is a huge problem I find, that people don't set goals. They just kind of get on the George Jetson treadmill and walk Astro. But when you have goals and you filter your life through your goals, when something bad happens, you go, oh, this is why that happened. Or maybe it happened because it's trying to get me to do this. And so, some things happened to me over the past couple of weeks that actually, as sucky as they were, have turned out pretty good. It's given me more clarity in life. So just know that sometimes when Forrest Gump says, it happens, right? Shit happens, and find out why it happens by just searching through your thought process of what you're looking to do in life. And I have so many goals that it's kind of overwhelming in time, but I know I can accomplish them all if I stick to my path, which, let's get back to that path. So technology, right? I worked for Apple for 11 years, and, I talk about how these technology companies are leading us into the future. And you think about it, like right now, okay, this device that you're listening to this podcast on, right? It sounds pretty good. It's all working, right? But in 3 years, this device might not work anymore, which is kind of crazy because I've got a CD player from, years and years ago that still works. Record players still work. So it's, people call it planned obsolescence. And I don't think it's by design. Like, I don't think they're doing it because they hate us, but I think people live in fear, which is the tool of the devil. It's in the Bible. Not that I'm going to get all religious on you, but I'm just saying people live in fear and they feel like they have to figure it out to keep on making money. And so they have to kind of keep on doing that stuff. But what if they said, hey, like, I'm going to make something so good that everyone's going to buy it because it's going to be the best at it. And then I'll move on and make something else. Like you as an inventor, because I do some kind of strategizing. I have ideas up the wazoo. You come up with ideas, right? And you say, hey, I want this to be really good. But it's like pizza. If you're selling pizza, okay, and someone comes in and buys a pie, do you cut the bottom of the box out so when they walk out the door, the pizza falls on the floor and, oh, what happened outside? You want to buy another pizza? Like, you don't do that. It's just, you want people to enjoy the meal and come back because they enjoy your pizza and they want to have more of it. You make a good pizza, they'll keep coming back. You make a bad pizza, they won't come back. And I think with technology is, and this once again parlays into my Monday session on Earth Day, if we're a green company and we really want to get the most out of our environment, then why are we making disposable technology? Because you can monetize software, and they are. I mean, I look at my credit card and my debit card statements every month going out to all these digital services. So if we're still focused on hardware, then these companies that are saying that they're green are really the ones that are causing the most of the problem, because in addition to that, and this is the biggest problem I have with technology companies, they're dumbing us down in the fact that software changes so much. I'm pretty much, I think I'm going to retire from tech consulting because the technology changes so much that I really have to spend all day learning all the new software updates. And if you go to the App Store and you look at the notes of software being updated, they're not even providing the information that they should be providing straight up. Like, it's every update should tell you what they're changing. And now they just copy and paste. They're working smarter, not harder. But are they really? Because they're not providing transparency and insight to the client base, so that they're saying, oh, updated, fix bugs and enhance the performance. But what's changing? How is it changing? And if we keep changing so quickly, I've seen it firsthand, we're obsoleting society, especially people that are in their golden years. You think someone that's 80 years old wants to learn the latest new features every 5 minutes? Well, let's take it for really what it is. Every year, they have to learn something new. They don't want to. They want to pick up their phone, dial the number, and have it connect. They want to open their browser, type in the address, and get to where they're going. But when the buttons move and the tabs move, and then, we got this new feature to make it faster, better, stronger. It's a slippery slope. And especially, we are living in a society that is going solely to digitization. Digitization. Say that 5 times fast. Digitization meaning doctor's records. Okay. Everything's being digitized, right? Which is good. That's really good, because then if I'm in New York and I mainly live in Florida, and the doctor's medical records can be instantly accessed because they're digitized. That makes sense. Good, right? But where the slippery slope is, 2 things that I've noticed, and I'm a very observant person. First thing is, what happens when the power goes out? Is there a contingency plan? No, I don't think there is. I think this is what happened in Egypt. Everyone wonders what happened. How they had this great technology, the pyramids? How did they build it all? Well, that's probably how. They probably had spaceships and all this other stuff. But when the power went out, it all sat in the field, and then the elements killed it, and then the only thing left standing were stones, because everything else just rotted and eroded and turned into the sands of the hourglass. The other thing is, do you ever go into the doctor's office and they say, okay, sign this little square in front of you, right? You're signing your name. What are you signing? What are you actually signing? I agree that I don't know what I'm reading, and I'm just going to give my life away and let them do what they want, because that's what we're doing. And there was an episode of South Park about that. It's kind of funny because I worked at Apple at the time, and they kind of mocked the things you have to sign at the end of the, when you use software and stuff like that. But it's like, what are we signing? Are we signing we give our life away? So as I end this podcast today, I ask you to do what I do. Slow down, look around, and think. Is technology better for us or worse for us? Can there be an in-between?
I believe there is. I have some solutions. Want to find out about it? Hit me up. This has been the Who the Heaven Is I podcast, episode number dos. Got 2 in the books. Love you all. Peace.